funny how the night moves. Yes, that song was playing in the stall while Danny and Joey were giving each other hand jobs. How did you guys know? Yes, I am playing this song. This is the easiest thing to do. To find something that's not copyrighted. This isn't copyrighted. Actually, it probably is. But I got away with playing it for so long. I'll play it for now. Good evening, everyone. I'm live on YouTube as well. If you guys want to watch the YouTube, I posted the link in the chat room. It's another Friday night here. I'm by myself, as usual. It's not easy. It's not easy being by yourself. It is easy to do a show when you don't have phone calls, though. I mean, come on now. Especially when you got two people with you. What was that? Joey Boots? Calling me a saboteur? How is it my fault that your Skype doesn't work, Joey? That's not my fault. It's absurd. It's an absurd accusation. I was so interested to hear what went down in Los Angeles at the Joey Boots convention, otherwise known as the High Pitch convention. I was curious to know what went on. I saw a lot of pictures and videos, courtesy of my friend Milkweed. Did Milkweed call into the show? Because I'm curious. Milkweed actually went, and he got to meet Joey High Pitch, and Gonzo, and Danny from LA, and Blake from LA. A lot of people. I'm curious to know what that experience was like. I did tell Milkweed to call in tonight, because I want to hear from him a little bit. About a few things. There's a couple shows I watched recently, and Milkweed is my TV show guy. And also I want to hear about his trip to meet Joey and stuff. I want to hear it from the perspective of him calling in to me. So I get the real story, not the fake story. If you want to call in, 917-477-7701. That's 917-477-7701. Or you can call me at WashDishMean on Skype, or you can not call, which I'm sure most of you will do. I just wonder, like, I heard a little bit about this, that Joey and High Pitch and Gonzo originally going to be like at the bar downstairs in their hotel, and then some asshole called and said, hey, these guys are trying to set up an event in your bar, you know, unsanctioned. And so they had to move the whole event to Dave and Buster's. That's really, I don't know who did that, but that's really just not cool. I mean, it's funny, but it's not cool. Should I admit now that it was me? Not only did I sabotage your Skype, Joey, but I sabotaged your event. It was me. I did it. I'm sorry. I did not... No, I wouldn't have done that. But, Joey, I didn't sabotage your show, but my opinion was that I think you should have went on anyway and just stayed on, because there were people waiting to hear about this whole week. I mean, you had an entire week of stories to tell. You had your co-host with you. He also was with you at the actual event, like, and with you the whole week, I assume. And then you had Max. I mean, you had a good cast of people there to talk about the show, so I don't see what the problem was. We have 949. 949, you're on the air.
Hey, it's Milk. What's going on, dude?
Hey, Milkweed. What's going on?
Nothing. Yeah, it was cool seeing those guys.
Yeah, it was, I know you did tell me you were going to go there and meet them, but did you only go for one day? Because I know they were there the whole week.
No, I just went up to Dave and Buster's for a couple hours, ended up getting hammered at the bar. But it ended up being the perfect venue for what it was.
Oh, yeah? I know, actually, my brother met Richard and Sal at a Dave and Buster's a long-ass time ago. He told me the story that he was just at Dave and Buster's just with his friends. Like, he wasn't there to see anybody. And he saw this big commotion happening by, like, the bar area. And he's like, what's going on here? And he was a huge Stern fan, so... And he had no idea they were there. he goes over to the bar and he sees that Richard and Sal are on stage doing stand-up. And it was just a very weird thing that he just happened to stumble across them, and he got like pictures and with them and autographs. So it turned out to be a pretty good night. So yeah, Dave and Buster's seems to be a place to take people for an event.
Yeah, well, listen to this. So I walk in and I see them by the bar at a big table. They kind of have their own little section, which worked out good.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably 20 people sitting around a table. And I walk in, I'm like, oh shit, they all know each other. It's a big group. So I'm walking. And I go to the bar, grab a beer, and I'm just kind of waiting to say, hey, what's up, Joey, or hey, what's up, High Pitch? First of all, High Pitch was sitting at the table. He was like Genghis Khan sitting up there on a throne.
Yeah, one thing I noticed, it seemed almost like you were watching an exhibit at the zoo. Like from the photos and videos I saw, there was a bunch of people, like Joey and High Pitch, are sitting down at the table. And there's just these like 3 or 4 guys standing around the table just kind of staring at them. It was very weird.
So High Pitch was a little tougher to get to, but ended up being a really mellow, cool guy. Joey, super mellow. Gonzo, really, really mellow but cool guy. Great impressions. He did an impression with Danny. Danny was there. So I show up. I eventually say what's up to them all, and then I meet one of my friends at the bar, and then there's these 2 guys sitting at the bar. I'm like, hey, you guys know, who those guys are in back of you? They're like, yeah, we just came. We didn't know. We just came to watch the game because the soccer game was on. They're like, oh shit, dude, it's fucking High Pitch and Joey.
Now, what was your first impression like seeing them?
High Pitch, he seemed, I don't want to put the premise that I thought he was dumber, but he seemed a lot more intelligent than my impression.
Yeah, I think maybe socially he's a little weird, but I've always said that, and Joey always said that I was wrong. I was like, I think Eric's a little bit smarter than people give him credit for, and Joey's like pretty much said no. Like I was wrong about that, but I don't know. I sense something going on there. I think Eric is maybe a massive genius, and nobody knows. He just, the way he presents it is in a weird package.
He, people were taking pictures with him, and he spoke very, very clearly, but he wasn't that high pitched. but he wasn't like, hey, what's going on? I was taking pictures, and then I took a little video, and I went off, and then he kept calling me over, Milkweed, let's do another video. So I'm like, cool. I got to sit down with him in a booth, which 2 pretty good looking chicks were hanging on him the whole time.
Yeah, I saw that there was the 2 pretty hot chicks, and then you sent me some video. Did you get my message? Because I couldn't find them for some reason. I went back through my emails to try and find them again, and I couldn't for some reason.
Yeah, I just had to re-upload it. Let me link it.
Yeah, so Milkweed was there talking with them, and then Eric was apparently like spouting off something about me. Like he was very angry with me, and so he asked Milkweed to sit down with him so he can do an interview. He's
like, Milk, come over, let's do another video. I'm like, cool. I'm like, hey, say what's up to Whoosh. And then so I just thought he was going to go, hey, Whoosh, what's up? We're out here in L.A., and I wasn't expecting him to go, hey, we miss you. But I would say, hey, Whoosh, what's up? We're out here in L.A., hanging out. And then, so I don't know what I was going to get, but it ended up being pretty funny.
Yeah, no, I laughed when I wanted to play it. That's why, because it seemed...
I just sent you his.
Okay, let's... Okay, here's... Oh, no, okay, yeah.
So let me finish real quick. It was actually a cool event, cool people there. I don't know, there's probably 25, 30 people in total.
Mm.
It was funny. The guy, and I started talking to the guys at the bar that I just met there that ended up being huge Stern fans. We were just talking for like 2 hours.
Yeah, so the people you went with were your friends that are also Stern fans, or did they know anything about it?
No, I met a buddy there who was more in awe of, High Pitch and Joey than I was.
Oh, yeah.
This Asian guy. And then the 2 guys that I told you I met at the bar that had no idea they were going to be there, they just happened to be there.
Mm.
I ended up rapping with them for like an hour, and we were just talking about a bunch of old shit.
Oh, so go ahead. You were saying you were finishing your story.
So no, it was cool. And then everybody kind of dispersed around 3 and said goodbyes. And by the end, Joey was like, he's like, dude, I took an edible. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, Joey
And
seems to. I think I don't know if the two times I hung out with Joey, if he was intoxicated on something. I don't know, but I have a feeling that he kind of does that before like doing anything social. I think it's like it helps him. He seemed pretty
but
fucked up
he
from those
was he
pictures.
was cool, really mellow. It was hard to talk to him because it was loud inside. But I got to talk to him for quite a while.
What did you guys talk about? Anything interesting? Like he knows you as Milkweed the caller, pretty much. Did he even know that that was you? Like, do you go up to him and say, "Hey, I'm Milkweed," or do you say like your actual name and introduce yourself?
No, I actually said, "Hey, it's Milkweed." He's like, and he kind of recognized the name. He's like, "Oh yeah, what show do you do?" I'm like, just every once in a while I would do a show about TV, and then I gave my real name, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, cool," and we just started chatting about bullshit.
Yeah, it is kind of just in general. It's really awkward meeting someone that you just know only over the internet. Even just like, I mean, the way I met Robin, it was very strange. I mean, we talked on the internet first and then we met, but when it's just someone you're going to go out to dinner with just for a short period of time, it was very like, intimidating. You're like, oh, I don't know how they're going to be in person. Are they going to be an asshole? Are they going to be, very polite? You don't know how they're going to be. And then when you meet them, it's usually very different. I know just from Pod Trash specifically, because on Pod Trash, everyone has this thing where they want to be outrageous or they want to be funny or they're just trying to fuck with each other. So that you have that. So then you find that I think just people on Pod Trash will be way different when you meet them in person. And that's what I found with Joey. Like he was very, he was very quiet and very polite. And he wasn't like how you hear him on his show. So I guess those acting classes paid off for Joey. He's a great
Yeah, it was a little
actor.
different for me because let's say if you're not a social person, whatever, it'd probably be weird meeting somebody. But it's different for me, just knowing that this guy's so long in my head over over the radio. But shit, I've been on 100 first date Tinder dates, so meeting somebody for the first time, I don't get
That's way different,
nervous
though.
or anything.
Yeah, because a Tinder date is like you're talking to someone in a very short span of time. You open up a dialogue with them. You talk. You're like, hey, let me hear a little about you. Some maybe quicker, and then you're just like, oh, let's meet. And then you go and you meet the person, and then that's the end of it. But this is like you're developing this long term like friendship or just acquaintance with someone over the internet for years, and then you meet
So
them. It's a weird way to do it. It's very weird.
so so I mean, for me, it was actually just imagine a 15-year Tinder text relationship, and then you finally meet him.
Right. I'm even thinking like
So
what, because me and you have known each other for probably like what 6 years or so,
yeah,
just through the internet, and like we've had the opportunity. I know it was in New York. I was staying at a hotel in New York a few months ago, I think, and you were just there, or you were gonna be there like a day or two before I left or after I left. I think it was. I forget. I don't.
yeah, we just miss each other.
Yeah, so but I think it's just I feel like a lot of people it would be normal. Like I think if I met Booney or you or like Chuck Steak, it would be pretty normal. But I think
And then like Danny from LA was Danny from LA. Blake
oh
was
yeah, yeah.
there.
How was
Cool
Danny?
guy. What'd you say?
What was Danny like in person?
He was cool. It was the same, except not just going off on a tangent and being super drunk.
Mm. So you
But he's
found that
cool.
he was
Blake
polite.
from LA was there. For me, it almost seemed like he was their producer escort. I should think he hooked them up, which is cool.
Yeah, what is I didn't understand what you meant about that. Like Blake, you think Blake was setting things up for them?
I think he hooked them up with here's what you can do, or here's how you get there. I think he went to the ball game with them.
Yeah, Joey actually I think blocked me. Like I can't even text him. And he missed out on some stuff because there was the guys who were contacting me through Pod Trash saying, "Hey, we're in LA." One guy was saying he runs some convention in LA or something, and he could get them access to it if they wanted. And he's like, "I'm trying to get in touch with Joey." I was like trying to forward the message to Joey, and it just like came back green, which is usually indicates that the person has blocked you. So I was trying to, help a guy out, and I couldn't even do that because he blocked me. Who blocks people? Come on, that's silly.
So it was a cool event. I'm glad I went.
Oh yeah, it looked like it was fun. Just meeting people from the website was probably fun too, because a lot of people from LA there.
You were saying that, you know, it's totally different meeting somebody in person. This guy that I didn't know I met, his name's like Dipshit something. He's like Danny's biggest rival on Twitter.
I think I just saw that guy in the chat room. Dipshit
Him and Danny were just broing it out, having beers.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Yeah.
Danny from LA. Well, I got this video. Okay, I'm gonna play this now. This is Milkweed interviewing High Pitch Eric.
I don't know how well you can hear it, but
yeah, the audio is kind of shit. I was gonna clean it up, but I ended up not doing that. So, because I kind of wanted the video with it, and to clean it up with the video is kind of hard. But here, see if you can hear it. Let's see.
My best friend and I showed what we right. And what the fuck did you do? Well, you're wrong. You know what you are. You can't tell Joe what the fuck you do, okay? You're not Joe Rush. You don't run your podcast. That's when you
Just hear like.
it's terrible.
He's essentially saying, "Whoosh, fuck you. You're not Joey's boss. You can't tell Joey what to do." And he's just very upset. And let's see.
Tell your girlfriend what you do. You're no one. You're no one. No one's gonna fucking lose it. I don't care if you can't lose Joey out to dinner. Who the fuck do you think you are?
So now he's saying, "I don't care if you took Joey out to dinner. Who do you think you are?"
Piece of shit.
Piece of shit.
You treat Joey with disrespect. Okay? You don't treat Joey with disrespect. Okay? Joey doesn't show.
I went up to 35. He did at like 28. So he put it in 20.
My God. I drove this guy home.
Yeah, the audio is terrible.
Yeah, it was absolutely terrible. As is his attitude. Jeez.
And then I just sent you another of Boots and High Pitch.
Yeah, Joey was very angry too. If people don't know, last week, Joey, since he wasn't going to be there, was trying to figure out what to do instead of his show. And he wanted it originally to be Robin and Chad running his show, like taking over from him. And if anyone would be biased, it would be me. I mean, considering that we're in a relationship together, and even I didn't want it happening because I said it gets to a point. I've already taken shit, first of all, having like someone I'm dating on the network. So to just like put her in the primetime slot is like, it was a little too much. And I don't even know if she really was into doing it or she was doing it just to, you know, help Joey out. So I was like, I don't really think that's a good idea. I never said no. I didn't say it can't happen. I just said, I don't think it's a good idea. And then Joey got very upset and he said, okay, instead of that, then I want Danny from LA and Ryan Lever to host a show. And I'm like thinking, this is to fuck with me. This can't be serious because just a few weeks ago, he could not stand Danny from LA. He's had like incredible tantrums. Just Danny from LA being involved in this website in any way. Like I tried to make Danny the news reporter for Pod Trash, and Joey said he was going to quit Pod Trash if I involved Danny. So like my creative choices were stifled by Joey's preferences. And so why should I then make a show revolving around the two people who had the biggest issues here? It's just like, it's an insult. Joey will say if I put Danny on, it's an insult to him because of what Danny did to him in the past. But he's willing to just throw Danny on the air when John the Magic Guy has incredible issues with Danny, both personal and just internet shit. Like Danny has gone after John's kids. And so by giving them a platform in a show, it's saying fuck you to John the Magic Guy. But Joey doesn't think about that. Like that's the issue here, in the contradiction in his methods of thinking. Like he only thinks of himself.
I get what you're saying. It's a good point, but it would have been a train wreck.
It would have been. It
as
wouldn't have
far
been
as,
funny.
Well, a train wreck as far as probably good audio and a good show in that sense.
It wouldn't have been funny. It wouldn't have been like a whack pack type thing where, oh, this is really hilarious how bad it is. It would have been just audibly torture. It would be just like your ears could not take it, because listening to Ryan Lever talk for more than 10 seconds is just grating. It's not funny. It doesn't create content unless it's squished into a concise form where you're seeing like, hey, I got bed bugs, you know, and then you see a short YouTube video for 2 minutes of him looking for bed bugs. That's funny. Okay.
Well, no, but if
not
you
a whole
pitch
show.
a show, if you pitch a show saying, hey, there's going to be a show with, let's just take, for instance, Bigfoot and John the Stutter, you'd be like, no way, it's going to be terrible, but it could be fucking brilliant.
I know,
But just
the combination.
The fact those two guys doing a show together.
But then the other thing is they have done a show together, so we know what that sounds like. If you go to Podtrash and you go down the categories and you click on the after show was a show that Danny and Ryan used to do after Wash and Boone ended. Wash and Boone ended, and they would get on air, and then they would pretend to talk about Wash and Boone, like, oh, let's talk about like a wrap-up show. We'll wrap up Wash and Boone, and then that lasted 2 minutes, and then the two of them just end up like talking about random shit and like getting into fights with people who call in. And maybe the first 2 episodes, it was kind of funny as a novelty having those two doing a show. You start to find that Ryan Lever is just more trouble than he's worth, and it's like you're getting less laughs, and you're getting more and more just annoyance. Like he just would, I don't know, create an issue out of everything, and he would just be very obnoxious, and it was like it lost its humor. And that's why we got rid of them, because it was just everyone was complaining. Nobody liked it. Not one person was like, oh, this is great. They were like, get these two assholes off the air. Why did you do this to us? And then they started blaming me for punishing them. So now,
Yeah,
somehow
I get it. I didn't know that was the whole thing around the beef, you know?
I'm pretty sure I know what's funny. I think I do. I think I have a pretty good idea of what is funny. Whether I'm personally funny or not is up to you, but I know what is funny. I mean, I was the one who chose the people who were here. So if Joey's saying I don't know funny, then he's saying he's not funny. And then if he's saying he's not funny, then he's saying the people on his show are not funny. So, I mean, it's a long spiral you can go down. But I think I know what annoys people. Like, I'm the one who's getting, like, comments from people saying, you know, you should or shouldn't do this. And nobody seemed for that show except Joey and, like, some random guy named Huge Asshole. No, not Huge Asshole. What's the other guy? He's on Twitter, and he has some weird picture of a really fat guy sitting in a chair. I forget what his name. Harry Balzac. I'm sorry. Harry Balzac, not Huge Asshole. Harry Balzac was for it. Because that guy's a comedic genius.
If Harry's for it, then hey.
If he had the foresight and comedic genius to take something from a Richard and Sal prank call and turn it into a Twitter name, that guy knows what's up. That guy knows what is funny. I'm telling you. I'm really going to base my decisions on that guy. Joey, if Joey, I said to Joey, if you want Ryan and Danny to call into your show any week, go ahead. You can have anyone call in, but I figure when Joey's not there, it's not really the Joey Boot Show. I don't think it should be called the Joey Boot Show if there's like 2 other people hosting it and Joey has nothing to do with it. So that was my decision. I said I don't want that to happen. And instead, what happened? It was a JMZ show. He had Chad there, and it turned out way better than that would have. So I think it was a good thing. And so Joey was upset about that, and that's what Eric subsequently was upset about, because Joey was pissed. So he was just repeating what Joey said. That's the
Well,
gist
here would
of
be
it.
my wish. I'd love to see a Podtrash meet and greet. So you have the Joey and Eric table, you have the Wish and Boone table, you have Maxwell doing his thing. That'd be great.
I think that's been in the works for so long, and we just nobody puts the effort in. I think
That's tough.
yeah. Well, the thing is, I would say if we ever did it, it would probably, I think J Dummy would show up. I think you, me, and I think even Booney and Chuck Steak are a question. if they would show up or not. I get this feeling that they would be so for it, like, yeah, hell yeah, we'll meet up and, you know, hang out. But then I think when it actually comes down to the moment where it's, you have to put the effort in to leave your house and go meet someone and drive a distance to meet them, he might just like be like, nah, I can't do this. So I think that'd be a problem.
I think it'd have to be New York, so that'd be the central place. Max would have to just head up. Booney would have to head down. I'd fly all the way out there. But that's just, I mean, I'm not talking about it seriously. That's a pipe dream.
How many times per year would you say that you're in New York?
Not that much anymore. I mean, the last 10 years, it's been 4 or 5 times a year, but now it's starting to slow down.
Yeah, but that's probably, I don't know. I don't think, it's just really, really silly to me that, hold on. Let me, because the chat room's here, it's now distracting me. Joey Boots is now creating yet another dramatic moment. He says, I'm soon done with this network. Wush earns me out and is ungrateful and too much of a narcissistic dumbass. Yes. That is why, Joey. That is exactly why. It couldn't be because your focus is on yourself at all times. That can't be it. This is another thing that has to, like with Pod Trash, like, I don't think anyone understands what it feels like to be the person that has to deal with everybody's problems. Like, I wish we could just put on shows and then focus on the content of the shows and just having a good time every week. But for some reason, when you put people together in a confined space and they're like forced to talk for 2 hours or whatever it may be, you start to find that people have all these differences of opinions and like they can't just coexist with that. It creates like this weird thing where people have to always have this issue. Like, to get attention, it's like, I have this issue, and if my demands are not met, then this is what happens. And like, it's ultimatums, and this wasn't happening before. Like when we had WDM radio back in the day and it was just me, you, like Whitey and Booney and a few other people just doing radio shows, we never had these like weird issues where like someone would get really upset and then say they're quitting. Maybe because the stakes were much lower. Like there really wasn't, it wasn't as serious as this is, even though this is not that very serious either. But
the exposure
still,
wasn't there.
Yeah, it was just like a small thing, and the passion, it was all about the passion of just doing the shows and having a good time. And now it's like kind of elevated beyond that a little bit, where there's a little bit of stakes. There's like people who have a following and then they start giving ultimatums. It's silly. I think we should seriously just go back to our roots.
Chalk it. Sorry, I think we need to just chalk it up as you guys don't see eye to eye. He does his show, you do your show, or maybe even get some kind of producer like a J Dummy coming in.
Yeah, J Dummy. He's been doing his own show, like a Koala-san show, and I did talk to him saying that if I ever did something, I would want it to be like have some people who contribute to it, you know, like RDV and J Dummy. That's really what I think will make a good show, to have a team of people behind like something. But I don't know. I feel like the reward is not as worthy of the trouble that comes with it. Like sometimes I just get this feeling like you're giving all these people the opportunity to do a show, and you're making it so easy for them, and they're saying that I'm the ungrateful one, but yet they find all these reasons to just create drama over nothing. It's just, it boggles my mind. I mean, everyone thinks they can do it on their own. Everyone thinks that they know what the right moves are. Then if you think that, please do so. Do your own thing and see what happens. Like, nobody's stopping you. I'm not begging anybody to be here. I am definitely not going to beg anybody to come back. Chad, for example, is a guy who I had issues with his attitude here, and he left, and now he's back. So clearly people like being here. So what's the issue? I don't understand. Joey has like these tantrums all the time. So he's saying everyone is quitting on Wush, but it isn't him, it's everyone else. Who has quit on me? Whitey and SJ. SJ left. So me and SJ didn't get along. That was me having an issue with SJ, and SJ decided to leave based on that. And Whitey is his co-host, so he had to leave. John the Magic Guy is still here, even though his show was with SJ. He still wants to be here. Chad came back. So who's quitting on me? Booney's still here. Booney does a show. Booney every week has asked me if I wanted to do Lush and Boone. And I made the personal decision to not do it because I felt like every week, if I'm trying to prepare to do something else, and then at the last minute he goes, hey, I want to do it, it's just not consistent enough for me to count on him to show up. He says I can't commit to a Friday at 10 show. So I said, okay, I'll do my own thing. And if we're together another day and you want to do Lush and Boone, I'll still do that for sure. Or maybe pick another time that's better for you. But like Booney has a job now that pays very fucking well. So I don't expect him to really make this a priority anymore. That's what it's about. But you can spin it whatever way you want. I don't care.
I mean, going back to what you said, I think you providing just the platform alone is a big thing in itself. It should be a big thing.
The thing is, people get complacent. When you do something for somebody for so long, they get complacent to where they get used to you doing that. And then all of a sudden, the thing you do becomes a privilege. And like they feel entitled, like they deserve to have this done for them. And then if they go somewhere else and all of that work is not being done anymore, then they start to go, oh, wait, so all of this is what was being done for me? Like, and now I have to do all this myself? This fucking sucks. Or I guess find someone else who's willing to put up with all of this shit, because it's not easy. Trust me, I'm a very flawed human being, and that's part of why I'm able to withstand this torture for so long. For 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine,
any normal human being, especially a guy who's like a very professional business type guy, is not going to put up with this shit. Absolutely not. They're going to demand absolute professionalism. They're going to demand consistency. They're going to demand a lot more effort. Like, I think I'm in the middle where I, expect a certain level of sound quality and I expect people to show up and do their shows, but I'm not like micromanaging every little thing. I may make decisions sometimes, and like a lot of times those decisions get shit on. Like me wanting to have Danny as a news reporter is a silly decision, but it's a decision that I wanted. I thought would be funny to have Danny because he made a few videos where he was like, just reporting on things going on at Podtrash, and it was funny. And then, like, it was this big uprising. It's like a protest. Like, let's all say we're going to quit until he's forced to, relinquish his decision. It's just silly to me. Those are the types of decisions I make. Having someone as a news reporter, I'm not saying, like, you can or can't say something. I'm not controlling, really, what anyone's doing. I think I've been pretty lenient. And so if I do make a decision at one time, it's for a good reason, at least in my own head. And I have to make decisions that I think are right. I can't just do what everyone tells me to do. And if I make any major decisions, I always ask everybody, and I get a majority vote of anybody who's, invested in Podtrash as a host or, a major contributor.
I was trying to ask Gonzo this at the restaurant, but when you guys did the roast, I thought it sucked that a lot of those guys didn't even show up. I'm not talking about roasting. Like Gonzo was there and Joey ended up being there. And I was pissed Max wasn't there because I wanted him to be there, not just to roast, but just to be around. And then I was really pissed that, Whitey and those guys decided to, take a stance at that time.
Yeah, it was weird. It was. Especially, I don't know. It was strange. You're right. I responded.
It felt
to
like
this before.
some kind of protest.
Yeah, but I think it was just like a lack of effort. It was just like, hey, well, maybe, in the case of Whitey and SJ, there might have been something else going on there, because I think it was maybe a personal thing where SJ didn't want to do it, and behind the scenes they were talking about like this is an ambush, because Whitey, actually, I spoke to him and he said that he felt the roast and having SJ a part of it was an ambush on SJ, that we were just setting him up.
Just gonna wail on him.
And I'm thinking, isn't that what the roast is all about? Isn't that the purpose of a roast? How can you ambush someone on a roast? I mean, the concept of a roast pretty much tells you that you're going to get ambushed, and everyone is going to, and that you'll have the opportunity to say things back. What's the ambush?
Yeah, it wasn't.
What's the
It
setup?
wasn't going to be SJ heavy. If anybody
No.
got it the most, it was Chuck.
No, I did all of my jokes that I wrote for SJ, regardless of whether he was there or not, and I only had like 2 of them. Really wasn't, he's not that important. I wanted him to be a part of it because I felt like because there was this issue between me and him, it was a good opportunity to make light of it, and it would be funny, and that's the controversial thing to do, to have the person that everyone thinks would never be there to be there, you know, and just to support the network. This is another thing, like, I think you'll agree with me on this. Like, say you start, you know, Milk, say you started a business with somebody, you know, it's a small little business, and it's you and a couple of your friends. Wouldn't you think that the other people involved in the business with you would have the same interest in like promoting and supporting the business because there's a mutual benefit? Like, everyone benefits from this thing, this entity that you've all created together, getting bigger and more successful. It's not just about the guy who, you know, named it or started it.
Totally, but I can also see if those friends and members, if they didn't feel like they had the same stake as other people, would be, I don't have the same stake, so I don't want to put in the same effort or go to the same interest. But I get your point, though, and I agree.
But if you feel like the state, there is no stakes, and except for the fact that the more people listen to this, the more people will listen to your show. The more people who listen to your show, the more opportunities arise that could possibly give you more motivation to continue the cycle. Like, you think if you're promoting this place and you're doing a show here, whether or not you run the website or not, you have an opportunity to put your voice out there to more people. So the bigger it gets, the more opportunity you have to reach more people. And the more people you reach, I've always said to everybody, if you were able to go and get your own sponsor and you want to do live reads on your own show, and that you obviously could do that, you can make your own deals and make money off of that. So you would think in your head that that's what they would be thinking. Like, okay, let's make this bigger. Let's make it more successful. But I don't know if everybody has that wish, like, for it to be huge or not. I don't know. Or if they're just about, let's, you know, have this small little community and always keep it this small and just do a show for these tight-knit people. I don't know, like, what everyone's wishes are. From what I've heard, majority of people are like, yeah, let's, you know, we want it to be successful. We want to get more people listening. I mean, that's the weird catch-22. It's like, do you want more listeners, or do you want to pretend you don't care about listeners? Then why are we doing this? Really? Like, is it to have nobody listen? Or why not just talk to each other privately then? It's a weird thing. I don't know really what this is, or what people think it is, or what they want it to be. It's like, are we having conversations? Is this a social network, or is it a radio network? What is it? What is it to you?
Yeah, I mean, I would urge everybody just to imagine if the site didn't exist at all.
Yeah,
it's
you would
kind
all,
of be a shame.
half of you would be probably on the side of the road somewhere with really big problems, probably having heart attacks. The other half would be probably on YouTube, I imagine, just watching stupid videos. I think the rest might be dead. I think I've saved lives with this website.
You know what's funny is, before you went on, hearing that show with Chef Chad talk about his brother took his wife away or something?
Oh, yeah. That is a horrible story. Chef Chad is a guy who is, he lives in New Orleans. He's a chef, of course. He goes by his name, Chef Chad. And he lived with his brother, like, in an apartment, and he, like, helped his brother out all the time. His brother was the typical guy who was, like, kind of a deadbeat. He didn't really make much money. He just kind of sat home all day and smoked weed. And, like, you know, his brother would pay the rent. You know, Chef Chad would pay the rent and, like, help him get food and give him weed and stuff. And, you know, you know, he was helping out all the time. And then Chef finally met this woman, this older woman, and he started dating her. And he was actually on the brink of getting married, I think, wasn't he? He was saying they were getting married. And this girl had a kid too, I think. She already had a kid of her
Yeah.
own. And they were on the brink of getting
Some
married.
backwards Southern shit.
Yeah. And so he got into a fight with her or something. They started disagreeing, and then they stopped talking for a little bit. And then it turns out, like, he finds out months later that she was fucking his brother the whole time. Like, when he wasn't home at work, like, she would come over to the apartment, I guess, and, like, bang the brother. And it was just this weird thing to where he actually doesn't speak to his own brother anymore. And I think him and his brother and this woman are still maybe dating or something. And, like, he brings
That
them...
ain't right.
Yeah, he brings her to, like, family gatherings. That's painful.
That ain't right.
Yeah, I've said back then, I was like, if my own brother, like, was screwing someone I was dating, and I couldn't talk to him anymore, it would be devastating. Like, I don't think I would ever get over that unless, like, they broke up and I didn't have to see her ever again, and then, like, months and months went by where it just kind of wore off, the pain from it. That's a very odd situation. I have a feeling that only happens in New Orleans, though. Just a feeling I get.
Yeah. I mean, I could never forgive the girl, but eventually I'd have to forgive her brother.
Yeah, I fucked your brother. I imagine that's how it was revealed to him. You ain't a real man, your brother is.
Do you want to tune everybody out and talk about 10, 15 minutes of TV?
I think they tuned out 10 or 15 minutes
Let's
ago.
lose all the listeners and talk spoiler junkies for like 10 minutes.
I'm actually enjoying Milkweed. If anyone doesn't know, we do a show called Spoiler Junkies. Hasn't happened in a while. Because weren't you saying you had an issue with your microphone? You couldn't find it or something, or you left it at home? Did you ever get
No,
it?
it's at my house. I've been Airbnb-ing for a month.
That's another interesting thing. Airbnb for a month.
So,
are you in the same place the entire month?
no, I started like the 9th of June in one place, which is like a converted studio garage. So it's harder to find your own entire place versus just somebody's renting a master bedroom, right?
I've only rented full, like I only rent when it says full private house or whatever.
So, but they're just harder to find in general, but that's what I've been doing. That's the only places I go after. But so 9th of June, I started at one place for a week, went down to Newport to a timeshare that somebody wasn't using for a couple of days, went camping for a few days, and then hopped into the place I'm in now for 2 weeks, which I leave tomorrow. I go back to the house, so I'm glad.
So when you rent a room in someone's house, are they actually there, have you found?
No, that's what I won't do. I'll only rent it if it's my own. Like right now I'm renting in like a full one-bedroom apartment.
I wonder, like, a lot of these opportunities to rent places that other people own, I wonder if, like, if anyone has ever gotten laid that way. Like, you know, rent a room in some apartment that's, you know, owned by some woman and you're sharing it with her. It's like you're living with someone for a short period of time. Wonder if anyone has any stories about that. Like,
I'm more curious to know why girls are that comfortable just allowing some guy. Yeah, he's been verified a little bit, but you know, letting some guy share a bathroom, come in and rent a room.
So I'm wondering, there might be some weird shit going on there. Maybe someone has figured out that system to use it to their advantage. So you went there, and then you went camping, and then where?
And then I'm into this one bedroom in like right by Venice Beach. Cool little one bedroom, has everything, doesn't even have a TV or cables. I've been catching up on tons of shit on my laptop. And that's it. Like, it's easy. It costs me around $95-$100 a night. So if you do it for a month, it's way more expensive than a regular lease or rent would be.
That's weird. You pay $95-$100. That's usually, like, I can find a pretty decent full house to rent for that price. Like, at least in Montreal. I know, because like there'll be the loft. Remember that loft that I rented? I did a show from there one week, and I showed pictures of it. That place was like amazing, a full like 2-level loft. It was very, very nice, really nice place, and I think I paid like $120 a night, there, and that was completely private. Like I had that whole place to myself. There was nobody else there. And then I've stayed at a cheap version of that where it was a full apartment for like I think 70 a night. And then the other one I did was about I think 100 a night, and that was pretty nice too. Like everywhere I've gone has been pretty decent. It hasn't been like sharing anything with anyone, thank God. I don't think I would do that. Like I wouldn't live with someone that I don't know, and I don't think I would rent an apartment with someone I don't know.
Well, the best places are the entire place, but the entire place is a person's second property where they just, that's all they do is rent out. So it's not like you're staying in their space and their clothes might be in the fucking closet. Which is a lot of times what I find is just really nice converted garages into full, like, nice studios, you know what I mean? With everything you need.
Yeah, just an interruption here. Gru says pod trash is the 13th step in AA and NA. I agree. All right, after you complete your 12th step, you show up here. But no, that's usually when people are recovered. Pod trash should be the first step. And you're just stuck on that first step for eternity when you're here. Because no one ever makes amends or ever deals with their problems here. They exercise
what would be the 14th step?
Yeah. No, they exercise their issues here. They don't solve them. Oh my God. Yeah.
So you got into Ray Donovan?
Yeah. Ray Donovan's a show that you've been trying to get me to watch for a while now. I watched like the first season of it like a while ago, probably a year or so ago. And then it was one of those things where I kind of just stopped watching, not for any particular reason. It wasn't because I didn't like it. It was just maybe at the time I was distracted by a lot of shows, and so I just stopped. I'm kind of glad I did, though, because there's not a lot of opportunities for me to watch a show where I know as I'm watching it, there's like 2 other fucking seasons after the season I'm watching. I like that. I know that 4th season has just started, hasn't it? It's like airing now.
Yeah, 2 episodes in.
Yeah, so not 2 full seasons, but yeah, I watched the first full season, and then I'm on season 2, episode 8, I think. I just got to the part where his dad blows up the place where the parolee officer put him.
Mm-hmm.
And he blows that place up and kills like that place blows up and then kills the old guy who was his friend in there, and then his son, Ray's son, gets hurt. That's where I am. I just finished that episode. Are you?
Yeah,
it's just.
I think it just gets better.
Yeah, I think it was definitely the second season was better than the first for sure. I think it's strange because the guy who plays Ray Donovan is not a Boston guy, is he?
I don't think so. He's a guy. He does brilliant voiceover work. He does all the voiceovers for like all the HBO sports specials and a lot of different voiceovers. He might even do like some, science things, but he's got a great voice. But he's a Jewish guy.
There's a lot of fucking in Ray Donovan, I noticed. Like, just the last episode was the FBI agent who they're trying to, who's like running the whole thing, like the whole operation of, hiding Mickey. Like the fact that him and his wife, like fuck some other FBI agent's wife. And like the FBI agent is kind of forced into it because he got a promotion through doing it. So he allowed his boss to bang his wife just so he can get a promotion and a good position in the FBI. And he like hates having sex with his wife, like his boss's wife, because she's like a little heavier, not as good looking as his own wife. And so like there's just these weird scenes of like he's just like banging this guy's wife, and then his wife is like, yeah, fuck her harder. It's just like lots of sex. Like it's happening pretty much every other scene.
That story develops, and then I think it's season 3 where he gets in this guy Cookie, this gangster, bunch of rappers.
Yeah, I've seen the thing where Ray's daughter is dating that guy, and he gets killed. Like his boss like comes and shoots him because he tried to switch to another guy, another music producer. And like the guy came and shot him in the car, and the daughter was in the back seat, and he didn't know about it. And Ray went over to.
Oh, okay, you're there. Okay.
I'm not like around yet, just at that part. But I found that my most interesting part for me is like the dad. Like I just like Mickey is like very interesting
John
watching
Voight.
him. Yeah, John Voight. It's just funny seeing him especially when he's in that shitty apartment and he's like scheming with the old dude, trying to make the robbery happen. They're gonna rob the safe with the weed in it.
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah.
So
What
good show, dude.
Do you think season 3, which is the best season? Do you think? Is 3 or is 3 better, or is 4 so far better?
4 is pretty good so far. It's only 2 episodes deep, but it's good. And then I think 3 really picks up and gets you into it.
What I did watch, I don't know if you have or not, the night of this new premiere that was a sneak peek on was it HBO Go, or is it Showtime?
Yeah, it doesn't. It's HBO Go, and
Yeah,
then so the
HBO.
first episode doesn't air till the 14th, I think.
Which was very annoying because they're previewing it for you, so it means the actual first episode that you just watched as a preview is going to air again on the premiere date, and then you have to
Right.
wait an extra week for the second episode. So now I watched this first episode and I was very into it, and then it ends and I'm like, fuck, now I have to wait 2 weeks to see the rest. But I found it was pretty interesting. The guy like pretty much makes every mistake you possibly could at a murder scene. Like he meets this chick and like he bangs her and then he falls asleep and then he wakes up and she's stabbed to death in the bed upstairs, and he doesn't remember what happened, whether he killed her or not. And you're seeing all these like hints of people who possibly could have killed her. One is like, you notice Bodhi from The Wire. Was really cool seeing him. And he had some guy with him who was making some weird faces at the main character. I don't remember the names really, but it shows it might have been him. But then one thing I noticed from this episode, so mark down what I say. The neighbor, did you watch it? Actually, didn't even hear if you did or not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Remember the part where the neighbor is looking out his window as the guy's coming out, and then he realizes he forgot his keys and then runs back in and breaks in to get back in?
Yeah.
I noticed, I correct me if I'm wrong, the neighbor was watching him before he broke in. Like the neighbor was watching him leave the apartment, go to his car, and then come back and break in, which would insist that the neighbor was maybe suspicious in seeing what was happening, or it could have been like he killed the woman and was seeing if the guy came out yet or not. Because he, like, why would he be looking out his window before the break-in happened? You would think the noise of him breaking in was what would have woken that guy up to come to the window and look out the window. So that was one thing I noticed. And then, so basically he's like, he sees the woman's murdered, he leaves, and he fucking goes to get in his cab and leave, and then he gets pulled over, and the cops basically arrest him for turning on red or something, and so he gets arrested based on that. They have no idea that he killed someone, and so he ends up at the police precinct as this whole thing is unfolding in front of him, and he's not realizing that he still has the knife on him. Like, he made every mistake you could possibly make.
Yeah, it's basically, you know, he's in jail now. It's looking back at the night's events, trying to figure out, piece together what really happened. But I mean, I thought it was great, and I think it'll go somewhere. But for a while, I couldn't get past what kind of girl like that picks up a Pakistani taxi cab driver,
It definitely was
and invites him to her house.
It was a very unlikely match for sure. I don't think he would have ever
Yeah.
had a chance. It was just.
But that could be good.
I like the guy who plays the lawyer too.
John Turturro.
Yeah. I just liked that character.
Oh, so he's, you know, Ada Turturro, which he plays Jana Soprano. That's his cousin.
Right, yeah.
And then she's going to make an appearance in one of the episodes.
I recommend people watch it. It was really interesting, actually. I'm just upset that I have to wait so long just to see it. The next
And
one.
I told you earlier, you got to get into Marco Polo.
Yeah, you told me about that. I tried to get Robin to watch it, and she looked at it, and she's like, I don't know if I'll be interested in that. So I haven't started. I might have to watch it on my own.
It kind of reminds me of Spartacus, but instead of those fighting scenes, it's Chinese style.
Okay.
But the story and the drama and the dialogue, it's very much
She's
like
laughing
Spartacus.
like I'm not going to be into this at all. That's okay.
It's season 2 is fucking brutal. I just started watching it.
Okay, I see you said something here. You have something to tell me. What is that?
Oh, that I'm sleeping with your brother.
Oh, okay. All right. You haven't even met my brother yet.
I know.
How would you have done that?
I contacted him secretly because he wouldn't introduce me, and then we fell in love.
Oh, okay. So why are you still here?
I'm just waiting. He's gonna pick me up now.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you for that. It's very nice of you. So, Milkweed, anything else? Because I think before this turns into a Spoiler Junkies, people.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other shit. But I was just gonna say, there's a couple of Showtime documentaries I thought were pretty good. One's on the rise and fall of Tower Records, and it's more the music
I saw
industry in general, but it focuses on. I didn't realize Tower Records was one of the first businesses to go into Japan that wasn't ceded to a Japanese business, because that's the only way you can do business if you're an outsider in Japan. They were one of the first American companies to go in and be an independent company, which is crazy.
Yeah, I saw that. You sent that to me. I did look at it. Have not watched it yet. People are...
Oh, and then the Dennis Rodman documentary. It wasn't the original one, and it wasn't the Vice one. It's a new one they did last year.
Still revolving around him and his relationship with Kim Jong-un? Is that what it's about?
It's called The Big Bang in Pyongyang. And it's more focused on him going over his relationship, him training their basketball team, handpicking them, and then him putting together what he called an American All-Star basketball team, but it ended up being a bunch of older guys from the 90s.
I just remember that moment where Dennis Rodman stands up during the Vice documentary, and he turns to Kim Jong-un and he's like, "You my friend for life." And it doesn't look like Kim Jong understands a word he's saying, and it doesn't seem like Dennis Rodman understands what they're saying, but then everyone just starts cheering. And it was this weird moment where I don't think they were cheering because of Dennis Rodman and them became friends. I think that they were cheering because they're like, Kim Jong-un successfully mind fucked the Americans. He tricked them into thinking they were his friends. And I think it was more like a propaganda thing. It wasn't about them being friends or not.
There's a lot of that, but I mean, a typical American can't understand Dennis Rodman.
I know. We don't want him either.
So it's all focused on that, and then he builds up the basketball teams, and then the press starts kind of, focusing in on the issue. And then there's so much stress he can't handle it that he's fucking hammered the whole week. And he's hammered during the basketball game. He's hammered during...
Does he actually play?
He's actually went on... They show a CNN interview with all the basketball players and him. He's trying to take over the interview, and he's fucking hammered. And then Kim Jong bans him from coming to a meeting because he knows he's so hammered. Dude, you'll love it. I'm telling you.
That does sound funny. Dennis Rodman's a fucking weird guy. He's always been weird, but I think now he's just to the point where he's on so many different substances. You think he just drinks? It can't be just drinking. No way.
Dude, I used to live in my early 20s in Newport Beach, and that's where he used to hang out. And there were infamous parties of him and just random people. And then occasionally you'd see him at a local bar or club, and there'd be 20 people around him just enabling him, and just feeding off him.
Just seeing the way he talks and the way he acts does not seem like someone who just drank a lot. It seems like he's maybe either mentally retarded or he drinks and piles on other drugs on top of that, because he's hallucinating when he's speaking. He's not speaking English.
I think he's got a lot of mental problems to begin with. It just accelerates and
no, if you see really old footage of him from the NBA, he started out kind of normal, though. Like a normal guy who spoke pretty coherently, and he didn't have the weird get-ups at all. And then it started to happen a little bit into his career. It wasn't always like that, I don't think. Am I wrong? I could have swore I've seen old photos of Dennis Rodman and he looks normal.
No, once he hit the success with the Bulls in 96, 97, that's when he started fucking up at the NBA, and then it just went down a downward spiral.
Yeah. Okay. Let me address some of the things in chat here, because then people will say I'm avoiding it. One of the things is saying I don't talk about the issues with Chuck's take. What are the issues with Chuck's take? You're referring to the technical issues of Chuck's take, or just the issue of the show itself? He's saying, "Wush, did you fuck up? Too bad for Booney, Mike. Booney should engineer and shut the fuck up." I'm confused. Wush never addresses the Chucks Take issue on air. What is the Chucks Take issue? Can you guys explain this to me? And then I'm seeing, I will stand by Booney, John Booney for president. Yes, Bruce, isn't this uncensored? What is, I don't understand. What am I missing here? Wush, oh, and here's another thing. Wush, tell us how the fuck Crystal got back on here, please. J Dummy says her and Robin are friends. That is how. Right? That is how Crystal got back on here. Because her and Robin are friends. And,
Well, hey, we'll do another Spoiler Junkies in like 2 weeks.
yeah, definitely. It's been a while. It's been like a month and a half, I think now.
Because a lot of shit starts in July, and then you got all the shit that starts in September too.
Yeah, I'm at this point where we like just watching random shit because we're running out of things to watch. And like,
Yeah.
I think the ones that I like the most are usually like the murder documentaries. It seems to be the most fun, or just like a really good movie, I guess. But yeah, I'm running out of things. That's why Ray Donovan was a good thing to come up now, because I am actually liking it, and I have
So you love
a lot more.
the OJ, right?
Yeah, OJ was really good. You like that, right? Made in America. That documentary was really good. Probably one of the most in-depth OJ Simpson things. Actually, we forgot to bring this up. I was going to bring it up on the previous show. There's this rumor now that OJ might admit to killing Nicole, and that's the timing of all these specials. And what was it? His friend, the cop buddy, I think it was, that was saying this. Is that who you thought it was?
Yeah. Ron Ship.
Yeah, Ron Ship. Because now they're thinking, why are all these OJ specials coming out now? He's up for parole next year and might get out.
Yeah, if you think about it, he's going to need a lot of cash when he gets out.
Yeah, I don't think he makes a dime from
planting
this.
the seed.
He doesn't make a dime from that.
Planting the seed to try to get it.
Well, because there was that
book deal or something.
there was that book that he tried to release called "I Did It," or what was it? Yeah, "I Did It" or something, or "I May Have Done It."
If I Did It.
If I Did It, and then the family like got a hold of it and they took over the rights of the book and released it and changed the title so it said "If I Did It," and "If" was very small. And now you would think that maybe he would release a book just admitting it full out, like not even beating around the bush. He would just say, "Hey, this is how I killed her."
Yeah, to date, the only money the Goldmans have seen is money from memorabilia, like maybe $300K out of $33 million.
That's so fucked up that he managed to, like, he managed to keep all of his money, and then just like pipe it through all these business things that would make it so his money is not touchable by that family. And it's just, I don't know, that's something really creepy and evil about that. Even if he didn't do it, he should have.
That's why he got caught up in a robbery, because he knew there were a few items out there outstanding that if they got a hold of, it was gone. He had to go try to get them back.
Yeah, but you just figure, like, right after he was acquitted, he said, "I will do everything in my power to help find the killer, the real killer," and yet he wouldn't even allow them to earn any money. Like, that's just weird.
But first, let me go play this game of golf.
Yeah, and then when they brought him back in for the civil trial, and they said that he was responsible for it, when they did that whole interview, he was just kind of like a douche about it. Like, "No, I don't remember anything." And like, "Would you wear these shoes?" "No, I wouldn't wear those ugly shoes."
Yeah.
It was very weird.
What I did forget about it is I forgot about the pay-per-view special they did in '96, where it was big because you hadn't heard OJ talk since the trial. There's a fucking pay-per-view special that he just got up there and said the same things.
Yeah.
Crazy.
All right, well, let me let you go, Milk. We'll save the rest of this for Spoiler Junkies.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks for calling in, though, definitely. Later. What's your problem? Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, I can't be on too late because it's like be up really early tomorrow. This is fucking the worst time to do this because it's usually the night before. I have to be up really early. It's just very painful. But yeah, I think Milkweed and J Dummy are supposed to come on here after and do like a show about the UFC or something. I don't know if they're still doing that. I told them I wouldn't be on too long. So it's almost 11:30. I'm going to get off at 11:30. Let me just go through the chat room here and see whatever I missed. I don't know. A lot of people seem to have issues with Crystal. I think my thing with Crystal is like a lot of the times when she was here, she brought a lot of drama with her. And I kind of had a talk with her saying that if she were to just discuss normal topics and focus on that and not really bring up any like stupid shit that's not really that important and focus on what's important to her and what she finds interesting and discussing things that she finds interesting, it could be good. And I think the show, if there wasn't any technical issues, the show that her and Robin did was actually good. And I don't have an issue with Crystal personally. That was my only issue, was the attention that she brought with her, and it was disruptive to the chat room. But there's honestly not been any of that kind of shit happening here. Really not. I haven't seen any people showing up and like fucking with the chat. So who knows? I have my thinking is not about whether someone else wants them here. I actually said no to this originally. So my decision was no. I don't think Crystal should be here. I don't think she'd have a show here. I don't want her to be involved because of all the shit that came with it. And then it just was that a combination of that and other things where I was deciding who shouldn't be on the shows based on other people's feelings. And I was like, I don't want to be micromanaging. I think I want everyone to be able to exercise their own creative freedom and have whoever the fuck they want on their shows. And that's fine. I don't think I should decide who should be on the shows. I do get to decide who has a show here. It's the only decisions I make. And so there's a lot of things like people on Twitter will say, hey, if it's uncensored, that means, you know, Danny and Ryan should have a show. That's not what it means. It means that the shows that I choose to be here are uncensored, like the contents of those shows. It doesn't mean everyone is allowed to be on Podtrash and anyone can do a show here. It's really not what it's about. It's about the content of the existing shows is uncensored. Like Joey can say whatever he wants. Maxwell can say whatever he wants, and his co-hosts can say whatever they want. Anyone can do whatever the fuck they want. I just feel that I have a right to decide who gets to be uncensored. So there's a fine line there, I guess. But I'm still going to be thinking about what's interesting or what I think is interesting for people to listen to. And I don't think it's Danny and Ryan. Like Danny, I don't have a personal problem with. I actually like Danny on a certain level. Like I think he's just a harmless, crazy guy. And so it could be funny. But as far as him having like a show, especially during a prime time slot here, like the time slot that everyone listens to, I'm not going to force them to listen to Danny and Ryan. Absolutely not. So I think the majority of people out there are like, thank you for putting the kibosh on that. I think it was the right move. It would have been horrible. It would be like, hi, this is Ryan Lever. For like 2 hours straight, and like Danny trying to make conversation with him, and it would have been just very cringy. Yeah. It's really not the best move. Joey was fucking with me, I think. And I think that was his problem. Willie says Crystal is a total slut, not funny, way past her time wash. I guess, I mean, it's not, maybe not, won't be for everyone, but I feel like I don't know, everyone here kind of had this mentality that we shouldn't be on any other platforms. We shouldn't talk to any people from any other platforms. And I just felt like maybe I was shooting myself in the foot a little bit, because just because someone's involved in a certain platform doesn't mean the platform as a whole is bad. Because I think when people would say like, oh, fuck Blab, it was more about like, fuck the specific show that we hate on that platform. so the whole thing is shitty. I don't say we should ever use that platform to do shows on it, but I think like everyone's doing something. Like Gonzo Shitcock is on Periscope every fucking day. Joey Boots is on Periscope all the time. Even people who were previously against Periscope are using it now. And so originally everyone was like, fuck that shit. That's so stupid. And they've grown to use it. And I think it's a good promotional tool. I don't think Joey Boots ever says pod trash that much when he's doing his Periscopes. But yeah, I think if you're able to get on Periscope and get a following, then you could utilize that to bring people here. If you're going on Blab or whatever the fuck, Gonzo goes on Blab. I've seen him on there a few times. You can go on there and just talk about pod trash, or, you know, get people interested in what you have to say, and then be like, hey, come over to pod trash if you guys are interested. When even the same thing with Google Hangouts, we had this whole thing where everyone hated Google Hangouts. And just like looking back on it, I'm thinking maybe if we were just more open to like utilizing and getting our voices everywhere we can, especially if it's free, then I think that's the best way to do it. Just be more open. That's my new philosophy, to be more open and accepting of other people. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe I'm getting soft. I don't know. I still say fuck you. Fuck you if you don't like it. I'm spinning my tires in the mud here. Read between the fucking lines. Christ balls. Oh, sorry, Willie. Never mind then. Bruce says, I dislike Crystal because of how shitty of a mother she is to her brats on air. Gotta be worse when she is off. Yeah, there is a little weirdness there when you got kids involved, and like when she's on the air, she tends to prioritize the show over them getting her attention, which is a little strange. I think fuck the stupid radio shows. If your kids need your help or trying to get your attention, you know, pay attention to them. This doesn't take precedence over, you know, establishing something with your kids. So I agree on that level, yes. But Crystal as a person, I don't have any issue with her. And, you know, people like watching her show. There's people out there that do like it. I wouldn't consider it a show, though, what she does on Blab. But, I mean, there are people who like talking to her or hearing from her, so who knows? We'll see what happens. If everybody has a huge uprising and says, we will not stand for this, then who knows what the future is? I don't know. But I need to go to bed. Stop making me make all these decisions. All I want to do is talk into a microphone and ramble on. That's all I want. I made the platform for that to happen, and I was like, hey, come on, do it with me, but I don't really want to make decisions. I don't want to be a boss. I don't want to be in control of everyone else. I want to be in control of myself and like what I do on here. And the extension of myself is just like the website itself, like what's on the website. But as far as everyone else's shows, I really don't care anymore. I don't. Let people do what they want. You have the decision to not tune into it. So just don't tune in. I think if someone really annoys you, the reaction shouldn't be, fuck this place. I will not be involved in anything that has anything to do with these people. Like, that's been the response that I've gotten from some people. Like, as Crystal as an example, like, if Crystal's here, I don't want to be involved. Like, when you really think about it, if she's not on your show and she's not calling into your show, it shouldn't really matter to you and your tiny little like creative outlet that you have here. Like, that's your place. If she doesn't interfere with that in any way, then whatever the fuck. Maybe some weirdo will show up in the chat room and start, you know, ranting, but it's not going to happen during your show most likely. And if it does, don't look at the chat room. I integrate the chat room into every show I do. No matter what's happening in there, I don't give a shit. How have I not had like a mental breakdown Like, how have I not had this moment where I'm like, you know what? If you don't do what I say, fuck everybody. I'm quitting. You know why? Because if I quit, then the whole thing just, like, doesn't exist. Well, it could exist. If I just, like, physically walked away and just kind of left it there, the shows wouldn't really get uploaded, but people could still go live. So technically it would still work. But I mean, I haven't had these outbursts where I'm like, if things don't go my way, I'm giving ultimatums, I'm going to quit. You guys are making me focus too much on these problems that I'm not, like, having the right frame of mind to actually sit down and think of topics. Like, the entire week I'm just dreading, like, who's going to have a mental breakdown based on something I say or do. I'm melting on the inside. I'm melting. But I gotta ramble on. Thank you for listening, and I will be back next week, Fridays at 10. If I don't kill myself by then. I will be putting more work into the show, though. I have some guests lined up, believe it or not. I think after my first guest, it'll give me some fuel for the fire and make me more motivated. So, everybody keep your pants on. Love each other and soften up a little bit. Maybe it's not such a bad thing. Peace and love.
But now it's time for me to go.